this. Like, it's like, why? Because it's too good? Because I can't be happy?
No, it's because she's losing respect for you.
Yes, because I've lost all respect.
I mean, how much more is
Are
there?
you wearing her maternity pants too?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. Also, get out of this bed. Your son's taking it now.
This episode is made possible by our therapy partners, Dirty B and Pickett. From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Welcome back. You know, we did our whole Patreon thing. We're discussing all the things about our sleep arrangements and how this all works. If you'd like to know how we each sleep, patreon.com/therapy. But before you listen to that, place your bets. You know, what do you think? Everybody, what side sleeper, tummy sleeper, back sleeper?
I gotta hear.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Yeah. And which of us is the most neurotic sleeper? Which I think was pretty
It's
established.
clear.
I think
That's easy.
Yeah,
We didn't
We've all
discuss it
voted.
by
but
a mile.
It's easy.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a pretty clear winner on that one.
Yeah.
We did not even mention the fact that Jacob just returned from a lovely vacation.
I did. I had a very nice
I wanted to
vacation.
hear
I went to
about
Belize. I went to
cool.
Jim. Where is Belize? What
yes.
continent
Yeah.
is it
I
on?
believe it's more of a state of mind.
Okay.
Jacob, yes.
Okay.
Wow,
there you
good,
go.
The way I was
good
taught.
comeback.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Central America.
Okay.
Central America.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice. It was super nice. The weather was wonderful. We spent a lot of time on the beach. We did some snorkeling and some river.
How was the snorkeling? Did you see
Great.
very much?
Oh, yeah. No, it
I
was
heard
really
it's
great.
really good there.
We
but-
boated way out there, coral reefs.
Oh, cool.
And so we snorkeled in these coral reefs, and they had one area where they're growing new coral reefs, and that was really cool.
So
They had like
cool.
frames built, and they were doing all that. So that was really neat.
Wow. That's awesome.
And like we tubed down a river one day and swam in a waterfall, and all the postcard
That
things.
sounds amazing.
How long were you there?
A week.
Damn.
Yep.
That's a
Or
good
Monday-
amount of
Monday to
vacation.
Saturday.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds better than Reno.
I don't know. I mean, Reno's, they've got grass.
I mean,
How were the coral
reefs in
yeah,
Reno were
yeah.
amazing.
Well, you know,
Understated, really.
Yeah.
surprisingly unaffected by climate change,
Yeah.
I think is what they've been saying.
Or
Yeah.
the chlorine that they put in the pool. Yeah,
Also unaffected, yeah.
completely unaffected.
Well, cool, man. So do you fly Spirit out there?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Flew, just sat there on the wing.
Yeah.
It's only safe place.
We
outside on
flew
the-
Southwest coming back, but going there we flew United.
Oh, okay.
And SJ surprised me and upgraded the second leg of our trip on United to first class.
Oh.
So we had the international leg first class.
Must be nice.
It was very
What
nice.
a treat.
That is
Yep.
cool.
And it was because
What'd you
international, it's you do the whole like there's a meal, there's all the things.
Ooh.
It's not a good
Get like
meal.
a wet towel or
Oh, yeah.
like a warm.
Yeah, nice
Oh.
hot wet towel.
Barber comes out, lathers you up, gives
Yep.
you a shave.
Unlimited
That's right.
On a bumpy
champagne.
flight.
Don't move.
No, like while people are still boarding, they're serving us drinks and all. You do all those things.
Did you
Very
scowl at all the people going back to coach?
I pretended that they weren't there.
Yeah, that's the
You
best.
don't, you
That's
don't
good.
look
That's
at them.
Yeah. I asked
Wow.
the flight attendants if we could go ahead and close the door early
Yeah.
so that fewer of them would have to walk past me.
I'm chilly. Can we close the door,
Yeah.
please?
And so they boarded the rest of the flight from the back of the plane.
I like that man's hat. Go fetch it for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't need that anymore.
Excuse
Wow.
me, peasant.
Yeah. I always like gifts that you can give your partner that are for you. Well, like, oh, I upgraded you.
Right.
She didn't just upgrade you.
Right.
to first class.
Us.
Like,
Yeah, she wasn't
Us.
sitting back in coach.
No.
that would have been pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Just like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just upgraded you. Like, I'm over here with the poppers.
Right.
Well, very cool,
That's
man.
very cool.
Yeah, it was great. And we stayed in
What a
in a
lovely
villa.
vacation.
I still don't know the difference between a villa and a house.
Yeah, one spelled different.
It's a whole lot like a house.
That's a good
I
point.
think one's more pretentious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
One's in
Yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah.
That could
Yeah.
be too. Yeah.
Is villa house in Spanish?
Casa's house in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yep, that is just truth. Is this one of those don't drink the water countries?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
it was great.
How was the water?
Water was fine.
Did it taste parasitic?
It did not, no.
What do you think it would take for Jim to go there?
Abduction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's just
That is
correct.
so
That
crazy
is just
to
correct.
me. You wouldn't
Yeah.
go to Belize after that
no,
picture?
it would not. Oh, it was a beautiful picture. Yeah.
It's a 3-hour flight from Houston.
Oh, is that
Like, it's
all?
not that
it's
far.
not
That is
far.
not bad at all.
No.
Wow. I'm shocked that it's
Yeah.
that close.
We flew to Houston, and then 3 hours we're in Belize.
That is so
From here, it's like 3
crazy.
and 3.
Yeah, you're just flying over Mexico.
Yeah.
So but it's not an island because
No.
it's Central America.
It's in Central
it's
America.
That umbilical cord that connects
Yeah.
the.
That's right.
Okay.
It's it's north of Panama.
They prefer umbilical
Yeah, the
cord.
place with the hole in it, so we can
Close enough.
push the boats through.
They call it a canal,
You
but
cut the cord.
yeah.
Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
America.
But you'd have to learn the language, though.
Nope. I won't be doing that.
Well, that's one thing in Belize. They all speak English.
I
I
was
know,
gonna
that was-
say.
The most
No.
common language. The most common language there is English because
They
they
barely
were
speak that, I
It's
think.
the
that's-
official language.
Right.
Yeah.
They're a British Commonwealth. They used to be
Oh.
a British territory. The day that we were leaving was actually their Independence Day.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So
Very
they have like
cool.
thick British accents?
No.
Oh.
Hello, Governor.
Welcome to
Welcome to Belize.
Chimney sweeps
aboard.
everywhere.
Chimney sweep.
Let's get him some bangers and mash.
How many croissants did you eat?
Oh, very cool. Oh, best meal. What was the best meal you had in
Yeah, what
Belize?
kind of food do they have? Just fish or?
We had a hired chef at the house.
I was just gonna say, I've heard of this.
so we every meal was kind of the best meal.
Oh, hell
my
yes.
God.
This
Yeah.
sounds like
Jesus.
an amazing vacation.
It was very nice.
Oh, my
Jacob's
God.
lost touch with the common man.
It's possible.
I'm really impressed that he still talks to any
I
of
know.
us.
Yeah.
What is this all about?
Jacob, unbutton your first button. You're
Yeah,
just too
yeah.
tight.
Yeah. Is that ass got a little tight? It looks a
Yeah.
little tight.
Are
Yeah.
you just disgusted looking at us?
I've been meaning to say something.
I need you all to get out. And
Yeah.
Also, use these Lysol wipes everywhere you've touched.
I'm going to build a wall between our chairs. So I don't mind hearing you as much, but
He's going to be
I
in a
can't
sound
look at you.
booth. It's got like a partition.
I have my own little apartment over here.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, I'm glad you had good travels. Masterpiece Theater over there. Oh, well, welcome back. A lot of fun travels. Check out, you can also hear about Nick's lovely travels, which were
Nick had an
less-
equally nice vacation.
equally,
Yep,
equally
about the same.
nice. Yeah, so patreon.com.
I got paid to go where I went.
That's
so-
right.
That's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Sucker.
Yeah.
I mean, not much more than what you got paid to go there. It's almost
Almost the
comparable.
same as
it's
nothing.
almost the same as nothing. Yeah.
I hate to make it worse.
Jacob's
You
like,
probably
no
did get paid.
comment.
Yeah.
Somebody else paid for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's,
Yeah. And then he
Yeah.
recorded one 10-minute podcast while I was there, so the whole thing's deductible.
That's right.
yeah, There we go. Perfect.
Business
Well, I've talked
expense.
about it on this podcast now.
That counts.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Retroactively. Yeah. Anyway, we've got some great questions for today's show. And leading off the lineup, no sadness allowed.
I was just thinking, like, leading off the lineup, I get so mad when people talk about their vacations.
I'm jelly.
Yeah, that's going to happen one day because we don't really read these before. Like,
Right.
You know, so the day's going to come where we have said something during the pre-show
What?
and then we're like, oh. oops.
Will has. That's
Yeah.
happened multiple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
We've made some stupid joke.
Oh, and then
then
we
we
have-
go right into the question.
Yeah.
We're like, well, that was
Foot
bad.
mouth, foot mouth.
Well, that's also the Pod Therapy brand is like somehow these guys are hopping between talking about really deep, horrific shit and then fucking trivia. Yay.
Yay.
That's our brand.
I mean, in fairness, I bring in a dick joke then.
That's right.
Right.
Which, you know.
gold.
Also, there were tasteful dick jokes, I felt. you know.
Tasty dick jokes.
Hey-o. Anyway.
Jokes about tasty dicks.
Let's talk about sadness. Hello, Pod Therapy. So I've had a very rough 5 years. Loss of both my parents and 3 grandparents.
Oof.
Overwhelming financial debt, 2 relationship breakups, fertility issues, job issues, and health issues, including 2 surgeries for cancer, to name a few. Needless to say, I am stressed, sad, grieving, and trying to deal with a lot of things. I'm sad, and I'm going to feel like this for a while. I still have happy moments. They're also just filled with the sadness I currently carry and the sadness I will always carry from losing people that I loved dearly. My struggle is I don't feel like people in our society are okay with me being sad. For a couple of examples, I was at a dentist appointment. The dentist asked me how I was, and I said not great right now. He immediately was uncomfortable and told me that he is sure I have plenty of great things going on and that it will be better by the end of the day. Jesus, that's a pretty big fucking guarantee there, Doc.
I promise.
Now, just breathe this in. Yeah, there you go. And
we'll make it better.
Those laughing guy.
That's right. Yeah, have a little bit of this. He immediately was uncomfortable and told me that he's sure I have plenty of great things going and that it will be better by the end of the day. After I made a social media post talking about how I thought life was a struggle before losing my mom, but now I see that it wasn't as bad as I thought and how difficult it is now, I got a message from a friend telling me how great I am and how much I have to look forward to. I understand that most of the responses from people are just caring about me, wanting to help, and wanting to make sure I'm all right. I understand that there could be a worry about me hurting myself. I am not, by the way. I understand that people think I'm being pessimistic and trying to help me see the bright side. But I wish people would just let me be sad. Would respond with stuff like, that sucks, or I'm here for you. It's okay and understandable that you feel that way. It's okay to be this version of you, and I love you, etc. I have real things to be sad about, and I feel that in order to process them, I have to allow myself to feel these feelings. But now, I feel like I can't be honest about the way I'm feeling, because it makes people uncomfortable, or I get told to ignore them, or things aren't that bad. I feel like I have to hide my feelings and present as the happy-go-lucky person people knew me to be or want me to be. It makes me not want to go out or be with friends because I don't have the energy to pretend I'm okay. I hate having to lie and say everything's great. This makes me feel lonelier and sadder because it seems like there's no space for me anymore. I'm hoping you can let me know your thoughts on this. Give advice on navigating and healing in a world that appears, at least to me, to not allow sadness. You're all awesome, and I appreciate you and this podcast so much. Pronouns are she and her, anonymous.
Okay, so first off, I don't know why dentists ask questions.
Why? Why are you talking to me?
Yes.
What the fuck?
I know.
It's so dumb.
You're asking
Say hi when I
questions.
come in. We can exchange pleasantries, and let's just do the thing.
Yeah. See, I love my dentist because she doesn't do any of that. Like, she does not talk to me at all. What she does, they've got TVs on the ceiling.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just HGTV.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just lay there and I watch
Learn how to build a
whatever
bookshelf.
home makeover thing is happening. And she does her work and we're done.
Mine doesn't
It's
have
wonderful.
TVs, but they ask me what kind of music I want to listen to when I come in.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
And I like that. And what I always say, by the way, is whatever your favorite station is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Since you're
I'm
doing
always
the work.
curious. I'm like, what? Like this dental hygienist.
Yeah.
What is
They
their
have to
favorite
sit there all
radio
day,
station?
right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing it for them as much as I am just
Yeah.
curious. But
Just
sure, it's for
curious.
them too.
Dentists and barbers and hair people, we don't need to talk. I would
Oh,
prefer that we
okay.
don't.
I
Barbers
don't know.
makes more sense
Yeah.
to me.
Because they're not in your mouth.
They're not in your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, you're right. Like,
I mean,
logistically, the
most
dentist talking
barbers
to you
are
is
not
dumb.
in your mouth.
Well, mine is.
The good
That
ones
costs extra, though.
Where's the in my mouth drop?
It's too late now. You're ruined.
Dang
Oh, I
it.
forgot we
Well,
have one
I
of
was
those.
waiting for it.
Yeah. You can't just
Your
call them
father's
out,
dick has
Whitney.
been in me.
There it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a different one,
that's
but
a
I like that
backup.
one too.
That
yeah.
one's good.
Yeah. He's an artist, Whitney. You don't make demands.
Because I'm a bad boy.
I like it.
I think that when the drops happen while I am talking, when I've listened to them on the back end, and it's really hard to realize that that's a drop.
Yeah.
It just sounds like I'm just.
Well, you're also
saying
bad
that.
at not commenting on them too.
This is true. I never just let them go.
No.
So, but yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't remember what the question was about, but I
Well-
think we're on the
Sadness.
same page about the
Lots of
dentist thing.
sadness.
Yeah.
Let me just 2 cents really quick. The barber thing. That is where women go to talk about all their problems as their hairdresser.
That's the
so-
expectation.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah, I
I'm
don't
going to
mind-
talk.
Yeah.
I don't mind having a
Right.
conversation with my barber.
Yeah.
Hairstylists, barbers, bartenders
Yeah.
Bartender.
are kind of societal's
Yeah.
go-to therapists.
Yeah, I feel like if I was okay, here's the difference though. With women, and please correct me if I'm wrong, though I'm not, because
You're
I'm
probably
an expert
wrong.
on women. I know them.
Right.
I've met several. Okay, trust me. I know
Married to one.
I know the ladies. All right. But when y'all go get your hair done, it's not. You don't do this once a month. You're going every once in a while, and it's a while. Like you're sitting. This is a whole fucking day. Like you're making an appointment for hours.
It is. Yeah.
And it's so I can see that it'd be awkward as shit to not talk to that
Spend
person.
4 hours not talking to someone.
Yeah. Whereas, when you go to a barbershop, man, we're zipping in and out of there in 20 minutes. Like, there's really no
That's
need
a
for
good
this,
point. I hadn't
you
thought
know?
about that.
Please put your shirt back on, sir.
But yeah, society, I would bet even at your barber or hairstylist, hairdresser's place, if you were just be like, oh, I'm not good, they kind of want a little bit then, but they're not. Are they really going to want all of it?
Yeah, so that's my thought too, is like, I think a lot of that, it's kind of weird for us because as therapists, we kind of like, okay, we can handle that. Like,
I could sit in that uncomfortability.
Yeah, I can deal with that. I think the average person probably can't.
Yeah.
But that's also, I mean, you have all this stuff going on, but there are still basic social cues.
That's a point.
And like, you know when someone's saying like, hey, how you doing? Instead of saying hello, in place of saying hello.
Right.
And sometimes it's a friend or, maybe it is a barber or, someone like that does want to have a more meaningful conversation with you.
Yeah.
That's just like, that's when, how are you?
Right.
How are you doing? They're going to have that talk with you.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, most people, if you're just passing somebody on the street, they're like, hey, how you doing? It's perfectly acceptable to answer with, hey.
Great. Yeah. Well, no,
you don't
I'm with
even
you on
have
that.
to you don't have to acknowledge the question at all. You can just say hello back and keep on walking.
The social etiquette piece of this, I do think is relevant. Like, I think the writer is correct, and I want to comment on that in larger society, there is a discomfort with real things or things that are less saccharine, right? Totally fine. I want to look at that.
Especially when you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, and that kind of, I do think that needs to be acknowledged here, writer, is that there is sort of a social etiquette, like your dentist or like people in passing saying, how are you? It's not a genuine question. You're really not meant to provide a full or complete or truthful answer. It's really more of a pro forma greeting that you're sort of not supposed to be truthful to. It's like, hey, so how have you been lately? If you take that, I think it's beyond people not being comfortable with sadness. I think it's just people in that scenario not knowing how to respond to truth.
They're just not prepared for
it doesn't matter what
a
you
real
said.
response.
Yeah, they expect you to chuckle and make light or tell a quick anecdote about like, oh, well, it's been hot outside or it's pumpkin spice time.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where the writer comes in and saying like, then it feels disingenuous, like I'm not being my real self.
Right.
And I definitely get that too, because I don't know. It is like when shit is going wrong and you feel just terrible and someone asks you, oh, how you doing? It does feel kind of weird to just say like, oh, I'm doing great.
And sometimes you just want an answer. Sometimes you just want to give a real answer to something.
Yeah.
That's why I traditionally just go with my traditional Midwest response.
Okay.
Which is living the dream one nightmare at a time.
Wow. Is that a wow?
Yeah,
that's a Midwest thing.
Living the dream one nightmare at a time.
Never heard of that.
Okay. I thought it was ope. I thought that's what you were going to say.
That's not used in. You can't use that for every response, but
like you could.
90%.
Yeah, you can get in there as much as you want. Yeah. How are you doing? Know.
Nope.
What you gonna do?
Just gonna squeeze past you there.
Also, aren't dentists like known for having high rates of like depression and suicide?
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe don't ask the dentist or don't share with them.
Never ask your dentist how they're doing. Because you can't leave. You're stuck in that chair. They have very sharp things in their hands.
But no, I do think for the most part, I think it is just a general discomfort that people have with making conversation, and then now it's like, oh shit, this door's opened. I don't know if I can close it.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen here. And it just kind of becomes uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the best way, I guess if I'm in that situation, how I respond to that is, I'll just kind of like, ups and downs. Been better.
Yeah.
And then if there's a follow-up question like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, okay, well now they're kind of opening up. Now they're willing to hear about it. They're willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
If they just shove it to the side and just be like, yep, I hear you. Been better myself too. But let's go ahead and get these teeth clean. Then we can.
Well, and Ryder seems to be there's an anecdote in this letter that sounds like maybe Ryder is posting on Facebook or on social media because they said, I thought my life couldn't be any worse back when my mother died. And of course, now I realize that my life has gotten much worse since then. And Ryder seems to acknowledge this, that I think we all understand that if somebody's posting that kind of stuff into the social, universe for our eyes to see, sometimes it is a cry for help. Sometimes they want to be comforted. Right. And we're not trying to disrespect them, debate them, or express our discomfort with their sadness so much as we're trying to attend to them. Mm-hmm. And I think the average person doesn't know, and this is something therapists train in very differently, we don't train to just step in and remind people that everything's great and like try to talk them off the ledge. We try to see their experience, right? And we usually start from a posture of, wow, it sounds like this has been really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry you're going through that.
Mm-hmm.
Without a hard pivot into, but hey, don't forget, the fucking McRib's coming back.
I was just going to say the McRib's coming back.
Of course you were, baby. We've been doing this a long time.
Gosh.
We're basically the same
That
guy.
was creepy to watch.
When I winked at him just now?
Yeah, a lot of things.
This is why we don't put it on Twitch.
For me, it was the hand on the chest.
Yeah. But anyway, but I mean, to these people's defense, I think that the general public, if anybody posts like that, I think their first move, and honestly, it's almost enlightened of them not to comment, but to DM you and be like, hey, I saw this. I just hope you're okay. I think of you fond. I don't know. So I don't think people mean wrong of it. I think there is a lack of understanding of how to attend to somebody who is struggling.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because like if I see something like that, on Facebook or any kind of social media, I too am kind of wondering, like, okay, so what do I do about this in this particular situation?
What are they looking for?
There's like a call to action feeling.
Yeah. So do they want me to reach out?
Mm-hmm.
Do they want to just acknowledgement?
Right.
Do they,
That's a good point.
So it's just like a like.
Sometimes they want silence.
Or just.
But it's like, but you posted it in the social space, and I'm one of the people who can see it. I feel obligated to react. There's no right way to do it. But I do agree with the writer. Yes, I do think there's a general discomfort with sadness, which I think that, and I wonder if that's a culture thing. I wonder if that's an America thing. I feel like America, there's certain, I think, like milieus of culture that have sort of like pushed this chipper, like make it work.
That's it.
Yeah, whatever. Milieu. I don't know. Like, anyway, but like,
I mean, it's like it's a reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Undercurrents. Of those things. But no, I do think that there's like this Americanism of like, everything's great, everything's working, don't look at the problem, don't describe the problem, we're always like happy here. And I don't know like if that's like influenced by mainstream Christianity, because it was sort of like offensive to God to be like, oh, you're not okay, so you must not be like a real Christian, or like, you're obviously focused on the wrong things. And there was like this very much like howdy-doody sort of pivot to what's going right. And I do think that's a regional culture thing too, because in the Midwest, people tend to, I think, have this sweep it under the rug mentality of like, but no big deal. How are you doing, man? It's like, there's a lot of this rub some dirt on itness around the country. And I don't know what that saccharine, sunshiny shit is, but I think it is representative of the discomfort. And I wonder if that's how it is in other countries.
That's a good question.
Well, yeah, Americans are typically kind of poked fun at for being like smiling all the time,
right?
And all of
we're
that.
like goobers,
Like, if you go to,
whereas like you go to France, like they're very comfortable with the existential dread philosophies.
France.
Thanks. I've been to the Paris,
Las Vegas.
Yeah, I've been to the Paris. Shit, I've eaten snails. I fucking get it, man. I get why those people are depressed. Because eating snails shit sucks.
And then that's why when he goes into the Paris, he tries to acclimate and speak the language. Bonjour,
bonjour,
mercy buckets,
bonjour,
and scowl at everyone when they walk by.
Right. I want to be pretentious in French. I want to fit in. But I wonder about that. I wonder if other cultures is that like French, for example, or even you go to like Hispanic cultures. Like I think that there's a difference with sadness and like even Dia de los Muertos and like specific like baked in holidays sometimes that are not they're celebratory, but they're also comfortable with bad.
Yeah.
And that fascinates me in a sense because I just don't think America does that shit very well.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's a good point.
Move to France, writer.
Have you guys seen the it's like a cartoon or a post of like Winnie the Pooh talking about how all the characters treated Eeyore. Who was kind of like the depressed one,
guy, yeah. He's the
and,
donkey.
And so just kind of talking about how they never tried to fix him. They never not invited him places.
Oh, right.
They always included him and just accepted him as he is.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen that.
And I've kind of had mixed feelings about that.
Yeah.
Because like it makes a good point. Like we don't have to try to fix everything. And we definitely shouldn't like, oh, they're depressed, I don't want to bring them along. Like exclude people for that reason, But then also there's kind of this other part of it too, which is just like, well, but does this person have to just live that way?
Uh-huh.
You know, or is there, can we offer help? Can we like,
right.
Can
is
we
that,
say like,
is
hey,
that bad?
You know, let's, maybe let's explore medication.
Right.
You know, let's get you into therapy, or let's do something about this.
Right.
As opposed to just like, well, this is just who he is. We just need to accept him this way.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I totally understand like how frustrating it would be to have depression or feelings of depression, to be depressed.
Yeah.
And then have everyone always trying to fix you.
Yeah. Or be dismissive about it.
Yeah.
Or trite. Or trying those quick techniques to tell you why it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah,
okay, that does frustrate me. Like,
Okay.
if you've ever gone through tough things in life, and I think you've I don't know, and I get that whenever you're in that struggle bus kind of thing, sometimes you do just want to indicate it to other humans, and you're not necessarily trying to dump on them, but you do want to be able to just indicate, no, I'm not great right now, and that's my truth. And when I've been in that situation and I've indicated it, I would do well with somebody just being like, I'm really sorry to hear that, man, and discontinue the conversation. Like, no, we're good. Thank you. Complete volley. I don't need more from you. But it is pretentious and annoying as fuck when somebody's like, oh, you know, brother, I'm sure it's not that bad. And, you know, don't forget it gets better. You know, just got to pull out of it. And I'm like, no, man, my dog fucking died.
Well, you don't know.
That's not going to get better. Well, you'll get another one, man. You should shut the fuck up. I think that's probably where we're at.
So I think there's two reasons people do that.
Yeah.
And I think one has good intent. Well, I think they both have good intent.
Sure, yeah.
But I think part of it, one reason why I think that happens is because like they can kind of see this. We've heard of like riding the wave. You know, like you're kind of at a low point. There's going to be high points, low points again. You're kind of up and down, right? And they see that you're at a low point and they feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
So they want to try to push you up to that high point as
so
fast
they
as
feel
possible.
more
Yeah.
comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is like going back to what we used to talk about back in the day, like when I would facilitate group counseling,
Right.
right? And we had, you know, a box of Kleenex. And if somebody started
right,
crying in group, I had a rule in all of my groups that if that person wants the Kleenex box, they can
will
get
get
it.
Yeah.
But we can't have, I don't want someone starts crying and then 5 people start looking around for the Kleenex box and then no one's listening.
Right.
You know, and what it is it's their own discomfort.
Yes.
They're like, I see someone's emotional. I need to do something about it. I feel uncomfortable. So here, take this Kleenex box and deal with your shit.
Right.
You know, I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it too is probably genuine in the sense like they just want to remind somebody like, hey, you know, you're not always going to be this way.
Yeah.
This isn't always going to be bad.
I mean, that's the thing.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, it's usually true that things
Yeah.
get better. You know,
Right.
for,
It's just
for
whether or not you want
most
to hear
problems, it's true. Yeah, it's not the time that you want to hear that
And
information.
I think people are always scared to agree with sadness. You're like, you know, it's pretty bad, and I think it's the hardest version of life I've ever had, and sometimes I feel like it'll never get better. And it's like,
It's never
probably-
going to get better.
I guess we all.
Well, then it's like,
you'll die one day, though. That's kind of great.
Could be worse.
but then it is like when you're in that position, you kind of feel like there's nothing I can say that's going to be the right thing to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Because on the other hand, like I could say like, you know, you're talking about like, yeah, your dog died,
Right.
you know, and I'm like, I know, like I dropped my burrito.
Right.
Like
yeah,
it was really
I
good
relate
and I
to you.
just dropped it. So I feel your pain.
I've been
you know, it's
there.
like you don't want to one up somebody.
Right.
You don't want to compare your struggles. You want to say
Yeah.
that you want to empathize,
Right.
but do so in a way where you're not also like making it about me.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And avoiding agreeing with it. Like, we don't
Yeah.
want to just agree that it is all terrible. And I think that's part of it is people are scared that you'll drift into the madness.
Yeah.
You know, and they just
Oh,
don't
your
want to let
dog
you go
died.
like
That's terrible. You know, I was reading about the Ukraine today.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
conflict in Ukraine today.
Yeah, a lot of
And,
people have died.
Yeah, that's that really got me down. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I feel like I was kind of going down the same train Nick was with his analogy with the Kleenex. I actually have a shifted thought on that because when I was in grad school, that was the thing. Like, don't give them the Kleenex because that's saying you aren't comfortable with them crying. And I've heard some new info come out that's it could be seen, maybe not in a group setting, but like in one-on-one sessions, that offering a Kleenex is like, hey, I'm empathizing. Like, hey, do you need this? Like, I notice you're upset. I'm not just ignoring that. Yeah, or it's like, it's okay to cry.
May continue.
It's interesting. But
please blow your nose.
Yeah. But that's disgusting.
I prefer to just verbalize it like Jim just did. Say, I acknowledge your pain. You may continue.
You may continue.
As he unbuckles his pants.
No. Excuse me while I get more comfortable.
These tissues are for both of us.
Welcome to Pod Therapy.
Boy, I hope this isn't your first episode. I always wonder if there ever has been a good first episode.
Of course there hasn't.
No, never.
None of them are good landing zones.
Try not to cry from laughter.
We can lubricate this conversation and everything else with your tears.
Oh, God.
Oh, my cheeks hurt already. Okay.
That's what she said.
Not from what you think. Okay. Jim beat me to it.
That's what she said.
There it is.
Damn it. No, my favorite analogy that I heard from actually my brother and sister-in-law when parenting was like when a child, and I use this in therapy all the time, is when a child, let's say like a 3-year-old is running on the sidewalk and they trip and fall and they scrape their knee.
Right.
And the parent's like, oh my gosh, you're okay. You're okay. Don't cry. It's fine.
Right.
It's like not giving them permission to just like, yeah, I scraped my knee.
And
it
I'm
fucking
hurting.
hurts.
Yeah.
Like, so to just sit there and be like, oh yeah, that looked really painful. It must have hurt. Like you're kind of just validating those feelings, and it doesn't always have to be encouraging or like emphasizing the feeling, but just like noticing and bringing awareness to that.
That's the right way to respond to the writer, you know, and I get that it's tough in polite conversation.
But people don't do that, in
or
society,
if it's a shallow relationship, like I am just your dentist, or I'm just the waitress at Denny's, you know, like.
I'm sorry, I hope your day gets better. You can say, I hope your day gets like, you don't have to say it will get better. Like, what?
You know, some just don't want to make it worse. Be like, well, fuck, the chef sucks tonight. You know what I'm being honest with you. He's been fucking up eggs all day. So, all right. So, brace yourself. It's going to be even worse.
I know. What do you think about, like, if friends or people closer than, like, your dentist? I mean, they mentioned the social media post she did, but it almost sounds like maybe some friends aren't really.
I'm a big fan of also telling people what you need.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be very obvious.
Yes. That was my thought exactly too. Because I was thinking,
baby.
Oh God.
We're just two little peas in a pod.
Y'all are adorable. Is that why you're holding hands the whole episode?
That's mostly because I get scared very easily. Nick is my emotional support buddy. Yeah. He just keeps me calm. Yeah. That's all.
No, but I was thinking that too, is like, because with the social media posts and things like that, I think it does put a lot of people in kind of an awkward situation. Like, I'm not sure what you want from me.
Right.
But your support system, it always, from my experience, it seems to work best when you are very direct and you tell people, like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
And even if that's like, you know, I've got a close friend, I can call and I can say, hey, I just need you to hear this. I need some guidance here.
Right.
Or I need you to
just an event too.
I need to bounce something off you real quick, you know?
Yeah.
And that has always been very helpful because you're telling the person what you need and they're like, okay, cool, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
That really helps.
Yeah. I have a friend like that. They start off their text like, hey, I need an opinion here.
Yeah.
Or, hey,
or sometimes
I'm
it's just, hey, I'm going through something right now. I have some things in my heart. Can I just open up to you? Can I just share that? And, you know, I don't want you to necessarily try to fix it though. And I don't want to scare you with my negativity. Do you think you could handle that? And like, look, that's a quick 1-sentence writer that you can give to a friend. And I think most of them will go, oh, all right. So now I understand the assignment.
Helpful.
Like,
so
I don't need to
helpful.
hold the rope while you descend into the cave and then pull you out with positivity. You need me to give you permission
climb
to
in
go
the cave
through
with
this.
you.
Yeah, just climb in with you and don't be scared that you won't come back out. Just see what you see. That's all. You just want to turn on the lights and show me what's down here in the sense of like, can you believe this shit?
Yeah.
Can you believe how much worse it's getting? Can you believe this happened, then this happened, then this happened? And sometimes you just need that person to go, damn. Yeah. Wow.
And that's going to be way more effective than a post on social media.
Yeah.
Social media just in general just is very toxic.
Well, and I can see some people that is their way, and that's okay. But boy, do I like a disclaimer in parentheses or something that gives us some subtext that says, FYI, the disclaimers, right? I'm okay. I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to hurt myself.
Right.
I'm okay. I'm not looking for anybody to dispute this right now. I just need to be heard. Thanks, everybody. And I like to finish out, like, I am on Reddit quite a bit. And I have a few threads.
To the surprise of no one.
Yeah. I have some threads that people vent in, and I've occasionally vented. But then I always like to finish my posts with, thank you for listening. And I think that nods to, there's no need to dispute what I'm sharing today. This is just my truth, and I appreciate you bearing witness to it. That's all I really needed today.
Is that the I am the asshole post?
Yeah. I usually speak on behalf of the assholes. I just, people get up there, they say I'm like, you know what, you're all kind of fucking wrong. I feel like we're on the right side of this. So anyway, but Ryder, you're not wrong. I mean, the world does have a discomfort with this. You're absolutely on the right side of that. There are some things I think you can do that nudge the social etiquette to teach other people what you're looking for. And I think we can also right-size our expectations of some of our interactions that, if we dump, a plate of hot truth into a situation that's not designed for it, it's going to get everywhere. It's going to spill. And they're going to try to immediately grab a mop and bucket like they're not sure what to do with us. And, I don't necessarily, like Nick said, want to push you away from authenticity. But I also want us to be adults in an adult world and recognize that. So you need to go to France, man. Those people are just like, life is shit. So just, they get it. They're not going to correct you. They're actually going to help you understand how bad it really is.
Self-deprecating too, I hear.
Yeah. All those British people in Belize. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're talking about aging and death. It's the happiest episode of Pod Therapy ever. Woo!
Today's episode is brought to you by Robert Brownie, Jr. Mintz, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Lib, Heyo, and Andrew Langmead. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a Theraproducer at patreon.com/therapy. All right. Our intern has been busy.
She's doing great, by the way.
Best intern we've ever had.
100%.
I'll say it.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bold statement, Cotton.
You don't get to just keep that status, though. All right. You better keep fucking earning it, Emma. All right.
Yeah.
This is one day at a time. What have you done for us lately? Okay. Yeah. Your good deeds expire very quickly. Let's keep it going. Chop, chop.
Well, I've got about 12 pages of trivia.
All right. She's on top of that
Broken
shit.
down into many different categories, by
fun
the
times.
way.
This will be great.
1-star reviews, the placebo effect gone wrong.
Oh, fun.
Dreams that make you go,
This is great.
Weirdest self-help books ever written.
Oh
Good.
my God.
Okay, so,
These are all great.
but today we're going to start with host trivia.
Ooh.
So host interests trivia.
Oh, okay.
So things that we're interested in.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't even know what I'm interested in.
I know.
Certainly don't know what these people are
We'll
interested
learn about
in.
ourselves.
Yeah. So here we go.
Can you see the answers?
No.
Okay, great.
Oh,
Good
so you're
job.
playing.
Good
I'm
job,
playing.
Emma.
All right.
I'm playing. Let's go 2 points off on the fly.
All right.
Okay. Which activity is known as a good walk spoiled?
Golf.
Oh, man.
Oh, I think
Yeah, I'm going to
that's
jump in on
right.
golf as well.
Same.
It is golf.
Yay!
I feel like I should get bonus. I feel like I should get 3.
I
You get
They
3.
should get 2.
You can
Yeah,
get 3.
I agree. I feel like
I'll
if you're the
take 2
first
if you
out of
get
the
3,
gun, yeah.
Oh, well, are we just all going to
Yeah.
give ourselves whatever points we feel like we should
Yeah.
have?
Kind of like golf.
Well done,
That was
Jimmy.
good. That was good. Damn.
7 years, finally a good
Wow,
show.
that was solid.
Every once in a while, you just
Look
keep
how-
swinging and one
look
goes
how
over the
happy
fence.
he is.
I know.
Hey, I'm just going to stop while my head. I'm not going
All
to
right.
speak for
He's
the next
gonna ride
hour.
that wave for a while.
I'll fuck it up eventually.
Okay. In podcasting,
Oh,
what
no.
type of microphone is most commonly recommended for capturing rich, clear voice quality?
I'm going to go with a Shure mic.
Boom
it's probably
mic.
not going to be a brand. It's probably going to be some fucking technical
I need
thing.
options. I'm just going to call
yeah,
it
it might
now.
be technical.
Yeah,
That's true.
Let me
I was thinking brand
I
as well.
rescind mine. I'd
Oh,
like
you were
to
going to
wait.
say brand?
I was going to say brand.
Yeah, let me wait on options.
Mine's options.
Okay, I'll say condenser.
That's what I think it's going to be.
I don't
Yeah.
know any of these. So.
I'm just going to go with condenser as well.
You're going to go on the fly?
Smart.
Jacob, are you
Does
going
Jacob
on the fly?
get 2
Yeah,
then?
yeah.
All right,
I'll
you're,
say
you're
condenser.
shooting your shot.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm waiting for options.
Okay. Condenser.
Wait, can you see the options before?
I can.
Okay.
Well, then
Oh, so
fuck
you
you.
can't get the bonus point.
Yeah,
then.
you're outlawed from bonus points.
Oh, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it seems exactly right.
Okay, then no more bonus points.
All right.
We won't do the fly thing anymore. That'll
All
make
right.
it even.
All
Okay,
right.
There you go. There you go.
Condenser, ribbon, dynamic, lavalier.
Fuck.
I'm gonna say dynamic
I'm
because
going
I don't
with that
know.
French one, lavalier.
Lavalier.
That just sounds like
Dynamic
the kind of
sounds
mic
fun.
that. Yeah.
It's lavalier.
Was that it? I got it right.
No.
Oh,
No.
I was like, what? Is it condenser?
you
Yeah,
two
it's
already
condenser.
guessed.
No.
on
It's
condenser.
definitely
Yeah.
condenser.
What is it?
According to Emma, it's a dynamic microphone.
Oh, I disagree.
Ooh, so we all got it wrong.
Wait, what did I
you?
say?
Yes.
I'm like, did I say that?
Whitney
What did I
doesn't remember
say?
What she voted on?
I don't know.
What was C?
Dynamic?
That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't
What was
No,
B?
that's not what I remember.
Wait, what was B?
You know what? Thinking about it,
I don't think so either.
I'm
you know.
celebrating. They're staring at me. Rewind it.
You know, Nick, women are hysterical. You know, who can know what they really want?
Exactly.
You know,
They can't be
just-
trusted.
I don't know.
I know a lot about microphones. I
know
was
what?
not guessing out of
We
nowhere.
were in distress on that last question. I think we need to give ourselves back one on that. I think
Okay.
neither of us was
All
in
right.
a position to putt.
All right, there we go. What is the maximum proof bourbon? What is the maximum proof bourbon can enter the barrel during the aging process?
Ooh, okay.
What's the maximum proof that it can enter the barrel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For bourbon?
That's interesting.
I-
All right. Well, we're not guessing off the
options,
fly,
no.
so give us the
Yeah.
numbers.
Oh yeah, 100 proof, 125, 150, or 160.
Huh.
The maximum?
Wait,
Oh,
say that
'cause-
again.
Proof is
100.
100%.
125, 150, 160 proof.
150
I think it's
is
150.
my guess.
And I'll bet it simmers down through that process somehow.
I'll say.
I'm gonna go.
Wait, enter the barrel.
The highest it can enter, like the limit?
I'm gonna go 160 because I want to be different.
Different.
Yeah.
What is this? 100? What's B?
120, 150,
125.
160.
I don't know. 150.
So you're all at 150. I'm at 160. It is
Okay.
125.
Ah, shit.
Damn.
That's where I almost been.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
What should a homeowner do if their toilet is constantly running after flushing?
Jiggle the handle.
Ignore it. It'll stop eventually.
Jim, that's Jim's answer.
That honestly works.
Jiggle the handle.
Yeah.
C. Replace the flapper in the tank.
Yeah.
D. Call a plumber immediately.
E.
Depends who's answering
Call
this
Jim's son.
question.
Yeah. My son, his plumbing and therapy business.
I know this.
This
one.
is the first thing you do when you hear it run, or
I
just
think
what to
jiggle
do?
the handle, but I'm sure that's in there as a joke. So it's probably that flapper
Yeah,
thing.
it's the
Replace the flapper?
flapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's flapper.
It is replace the flapper. I just did that last week, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I was going to say, we did it
1920s
not long
women.
ago.
I put in a work order, and the handyman just like 5 days went by, never called me back. And then I'm looking at this, I'm like, I'm
know
a
I
renter.
can,
I'm
but-
a renter. I'm supposed to do this. But
Yeah.
it's like, this is a $5 piece. I
Yeah.
can have this done in 2 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so finally I just did it myself.
Do you send the receipt to the owner though?
No, I just went on about my day.
No, but you should passive aggressively send the receipt
For
the
$5.
Yeah,
No.
and your time.
And my time.
just
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
time and labor.
$100 labor.
That's right.
$5 piece.
Deduct it from the rent.
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
$5.
Oh, itemize that shit.
Yeah.
Get it.
Should.
Oh, that would have been a great idea. All right, so who's in the lead?
I don't know.
I feel like Jacob is.
Sure.
That first one he got.
I got dynamic.
Did you though?
Yeah, Whitney got dynamic.
I don't know that any of
I
us
think
really
I'm in
know
the
that.
lead, unless we count the bonus points.
You
Jacob
know,
got.
it's not like we can actually go back.
I think
and
you might
find
be
out.
right.
Yeah, fine.
I think
Whatever.
Whitney's in the lead
Yes.
without bonus points.
Okay.
All right, whatever. Thinking about aging and death. Hello, I've written in before about.
I'm
various-
mad that somebody thinks that dynamic microphones are better than condenser mics for podcasting.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have not. You've been distracted ever since that.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
He's been
I just
mulling that one
disagree.
over.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
fundamentally disagree with that.
yeah,
Okay, so that's one strike against our intern.
Yeah.
yeah.
Bring that
All
up in the
right.
annual.
You don't want to know what happens when you get to 2 strikes.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's right.
2 strikes, you get a verbal warning.
Oh yeah, we need to write a progressive discipline policy for Emma,
If you get 10 verbal warnings,
and then we just need to fucking
that's
find
a written
reasons.
warning.
That's right. And then we need to fucking find reasons.
7 written warnings, that's a verbal reprimand.
Yeah, then suspended without the pay you already don't get. but it's symbolic. I've written in before about various things. Thank you for your thoughtful discussion each and every time. I tried to write a short letter and thought I did a good job today, but you might want a coffee and a snack to make it through this one. Today, I wanted to ask your thoughts about struggling with fears about getting older and eventually dying, particularly around one's birthday. This time of year is hard for me. Over the past weekend, it was my birthday. The last few years, I've had trouble feeling good about my birthday. My birthday reminds me that time is marching forward and that I don't know how long I or any of us have. The last few years, my birthday usually featured at least one day, if not more than one day, where I was pretty depressed about getting older. Like, can't get out of bed or being brought to tears depressed. I've had trouble planning positive things to do on my birthday and just feel dread around it. This year I did something different by buying tickets for a festival on the day of my birthday.
Great.
While it was hard to talk myself into making a commitment at first, I had a lot of fun. I think that was very positive for me. I didn't really talk about it being my birthday on my actual birthday except with my parents during the obligatory birthday phone call. It was a pretty good day. This is the first birthday in a long time that I've actually enjoyed. However, the Friday before and the Monday after, I had some difficult moments and feelings. On Friday, when I was clocking out, my coworker told me they wished me a good birthday weekend. They asked if I was turning 30. I said yes, and they chuckled and said, "You're becoming an old man." I gave a half-hearted chuckle as I left, but the whole drive home, I felt like I was going to burst into tears, to the point that I considered pulling over. When I got home, I felt compelled to lay down and be sad alone for an hour. I had a similar feeling to a lesser degree on the Monday after my birthday. Although I don't remember what prompted it, I just remember being on the edge of tears again because I felt like my life was just shrinking before my eyes. I'm afraid of getting old. I'm afraid of what could happen to my body as I get older. Will I get a debilitating condition? My wife is 2 for 4 on grandparents with severe dementia, and a third one had difficult cancer battles that ultimately got them. Is that a struggle we will have too? Will I get to the point where I'm alive but so afflicted I can't enjoy it anymore? Will there be a day where my wife looks at me but can't recognize me? I think about death a good bit. I'm deeply afraid of dying. I think that's normal, but around my birthday it becomes more difficult. I like my life. I like being alive most days, and I'm scared of what happens next. I don't know what will happen if I die. I had a really difficult discussion with my therapist last week about all of this, and I anticipate a similarly difficult discussion during my visit with her tomorrow. Last time she asked me to focus on ways that I'm currently being life-affirming and to think about any down-the-road things that would be life-affirming for me that I can work towards. She also wants me to write down my intrusive thoughts about getting old or dying as they come so I can think about them calmly and so we can discuss them later. I thought the visit itself was also a good exercise because I haven't really talked deeply about these issues with anyone else. It felt good to express it and cry it out for what I feel like was the first time. So I guess what I'm asking is if anyone here has had a similar difficulty with birthdays, getting older, or thoughts about dying one day, and if we have any thoughts on facing these issues. I know we can't avoid or fix them, but can we make peace with them? Thanks, Matt from Arlington.
Arlington, Texas?
I think it's Arlington,
Virginia?
Jamaica. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Arlington Cemetery because he's so old.
Oh, that's
he's already
what
just
it
hanging out in the
is. He's
cemetery.
Zombies. That's right.
I hope that helped, Matt.
Yeah, you're
anyway,
welcome.
thanks
More
for writing
trivia.
in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about condenser mics. This is deep.
Have y'all ever had issues?
This week.
Me fucking yeah.
Not this. Last week. I was doing this. I was doing this to myself last week.
In
Really?
Belize?
I
No.
know.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say,
That
fuck
was
you.
the week before that.
Paradise?
No.
Oh, let's all feel sorry for Jacob.
Jesus, here
That's why I changed it from this week to last week.
Hold up. That's a big swing from.
No, I had a day the other week where I was like, man, I'm pushing 50. Like I'm on the early end of 40s right now, but
It's coming.
Yeah, it's closer than 30.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm 43. Like I'm like I'll be 50 before I know it. Like just time starts speeding up and everything too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did not like it. It's the first time in my life that it kind of occurred to me that I'm going to hit an age that I'm like, oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think is, completely natural for all humans, right? And I think typically you tend to see it on the other side of 20s, right? I think a lot of times in 20s, there's a lot of exciting things happening in a person's life. There's a lot of life milestones and developments. Age isn't as visibly noticeable.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of get into those 30s and 40s and 50s, and Ryder just hit 30, I think there is like a very common experience of existential dread.
I've known many people that when they had that 30th birthday, that really hit them hard.
My 30th beat me the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very, very long one. And I mean, this is something that I went through, and I haven't been dealing with it as bad in recent years. But man, I went through this at a very young age, like, because I discovered like deep philosophy at a young age, weirdly. And just
at
like
Liberty?
Yeah, no. This is pre-Liberty. Liberty fixed it all by telling me Jesus loved me. But before that, it was pretty dark. And like I got into like I joked earlier about like French existentialism, but no, I fucking did. Like, and once you get into like Camus and Sartre and stuff, and like you start experiencing like, so there is no point, there is no purpose, and death is inevitable. And like it really becomes this thing that I think is the number one thing all humans have to wrestle with. And I think it's one of the more fascinating things about Homo sapiens as a species, like the light of consciousness that is us, right? The very first thing that consciousness illuminates is its own demise, like the fact that you will die, the fact that everybody dies. And like that had to be the very first things we discovered as we like became conscious beings. And then, of course, you think about like religion and all these attempts to try to answer that or solve that or try to make something permanent. So it's like, don't worry, it doesn't end. Just kidding, it just seems to end. And there's some kind of comfort, right?
Yeah.
Humans have been reacting to this shit for as long as I think we have been humans. I think it was the very first crisis of the conscious mind. I really think it's fascinating shit.
Yeah.
No, I think, and that's where kind of probably the concept of an afterlife comes into play. Like Ricky Gervais's movie, the
lying
The
one?
Invention of Lying.
Yeah.
Like where his mom is dying and he's like
His first lie.
His first lie. Yeah, he comes up with heaven.
Yeah.
As a way to like soften that, I don't know. I don't think about this very
You're
often.
neutral about birthdays. And I remember when we worked together at the rehab, one of them, but the most recent one, which I don't know why we're fucking cagey about names at this point. It's been a long time, but who gives a fuck? We've been doing it, may as well keep doing it. But I remember my birthday came around.
Tom's Rehab.
Remember Tom's? Tom's Rehab? Yeah. That was a great place. And Oil and Lube.
Yeah, the sandwich place.
Yeah, that great sandwich place.
We're the best rehab place on the block, and we'll fix your watch.
But yeah, like every birthday, I tend to get morose, which is why I fucking keep trying to veto my birthday being in December and want to put it in July. I want July 1. Okay, we've been over this. I'm very dedicated to this.
And yet,
I'm going to be out of town then.
Yeah, I'm busy. All of them.
I'm going to be washing my hair.
December birthdays blow. But I remember I was pretty like low energy and like discouraged, and Nick had come like, hey man, are you okay? You seem like you got a flat tire emotionally. Stop being a bitch. I think it was exactly.
Do you need your watch fixed?
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, dude, I just get really morose for my birthday. And I was like, you ever get like that, man? Just like, you ever like you're aging and like just life's happening and it's all happening really fast. And like every year you're sort of reminded of, things that you aspire for, but maybe won't get, or like you're getting closer to those bad years. Cause like you're not always going to have good years. Like youth is associated with health. And so like there is steadily a percentage of the human lifespan that is more plagued with challenges. And, you don't like those people that talk about saving all their money for like their retirement and they scrimp and save and never make any memories. And then you get to retirement and you have millions and all you realize is like you want a warm chair to sit in. Like that's all you care about. And
or
all
you
that money's
can't do
fucking
the
worthless.
things that...
Yeah, you can't get out of your chair and do it. And I remember talking to Nick about that and he's like, you ever think like that? I like went on a 20-minute fucking speech. And he just
Nick's
sat
like,
there.
This is a
And
Wendy's
he
again.
listened to me. He gave me a good hearing. And then he's like, yeah. And I was like, you know what I'm talking about, right? And he's like, no, I don't. It's like, really? Are you a robot? Like, you just don't fucking have this?
No, I think, I don't know, like my perception of getting older has changed. Because like, here's the thing. Like, I remember there was a moment living in Iowa. We lived in a college town, right? And so lots of college students everywhere. And I remember at one point, like going out to eat, and it was margarita night at this like Mexican restaurant. And so all of the college students were there.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there in the booth eating, and they're, right next to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, they're fucking obnoxious.
Uh-huh.
I just had this like awakening.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of realized like, oh, well, that's what I was like in my early 20s.
Right.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm not much removed. I'm in my late 20s.
Right.
But I see a huge difference there. And then I get into my 30s, and then I look back at people in their late 20s.
Yeah.
And I feel like, oh, yeah, I've matured a lot. I like the way that I see the world. Right. And then as I got older, I continue to appreciate getting older and what comes with getting older, as opposed to focusing on what could go wrong and like, oh, I could get sick, or, oh, I could, throw out my back, or I could do all these other things.
Right.
Because that's not, getting older doesn't mean that that's going to happen either.
Yeah.
I mean, people in their 20s aren't taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
And they're getting injured just like anybody else.
That's true.
Like if you take care of yourself, I know people in their 50s, 60s, like one of the guys I golf with, like he's in his 60s, and he still gets around fine. And
I think you have an interesting perspective on this though, because you are in a smaller percentage of humanity that is quite fit and is like,
I'm not though. But here's the thing.
No, Nick.
But here's the thing.
You're quite fit.
Yeah.
Quite
You're
fit.
Delusional.
Quite
if you think you're not
All right. But here's the thing.
in that minority. Okay,
in
go
my
on.
mouth. Yeah.
Not that I'm not
Nick doesn't
enjoying
want to
this.
take
rest
that.
of us-
I'm not
Like,
enjoying
what
this.
do
The rest of
I
us
say?
struggle
Go
with
on.
this. Like you go to pick up a box. Like you go outside, you go to pick up a fucking Amazon
I was in
box.
a text thing. Sorry, finish your story because you just reminded me of a text like 2 days ago with my friends who are 39.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to pick up something, you're just like, fuck,
Yeah.
why can't I get this? And you realize like
Yep.
I'm losing strength.
Or just like slept wrong.
Yes, or
and
yeah, your
they
body
literally were like,
hurts.
"This is the worst pain ever," and went to the doctor. They're like,
Yeah.
"It seems like you pulled a muscle." She's like, "No, this isn't that." And then
Yeah.
like realized the next day, I think I fucking pulled a muscle.
Right.
sleeping.
Yes. And so like weird shit does happen just
Yeah.
with aging. There's this like
Yeah.
decay. And it's like you do. I think
She's
you get
like, "I thought I
confronted
had more
with it.
time." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You don't." I'm sorry.
Yeah, or you go to. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to over the years that are like going to their doctor to figure out what's wrong. They're like, something's wrong. I'm just noticing I have less energy. I'm noticing I'm more fatigued. I'm noticing, and like the doctor just has to break it to them and is like, hey,
aging.
it's just aging.
You know who that
Everything
doesn't
is
happen
aging.
to though?
Nick.
Yeah. He doesn't even. He looks very
quite
confused watching you tell that story, Jim. Like he doesn't have
Get
a
any
clue.
of this. It's so weird. I'm stronger every day, like than the day I was before. It's nuts.
That is so
I do not
true.
understand.
Extremely fit.
Not quite.
Nick, put your shirt back on. We get it.
Yeah. We get it. You're making
Yeah, all right.
your tits
Nick's
dance. It's
doing
pretty
Jack
cool.
LaLanne style jumping jacks right now.
In a onesie.
And if you're under 40,
I do appreciate that he's wearing the
Google
spandex.
Jack LaLanne.
Yeah.
I will.
But like it doesn't have to be that way. Like you
Right.
can take care of yourself and you can like it doesn't have to be miserable. Like you
Right.
can be active, you can take care of yourself, and then these things don't have to necessarily happen. Number
Right.
one.
That's fair.
Okay, so that's my first point. You know what? My first point actually was like if I realized that my 30s actually were better than my 20s, then maybe my 40s I'll have the same perspective.
You are one of the
And
only
then maybe
people
my
I know.
50s will have the same perspective.
You have consistently spoken this way, and,
Yeah.
and I just want you to know you are the outlier, and it is. But you are consistent. This has consistently been true for you for years and years and years. I remember whenever you turned 40, and I was like, "How are you doing, buddy?" And you were like, "Great." And I was like, "Oh, is this like a mask? Like you can open up to me, man." And you're like, "No, I really don't give a fuck. I'm looking forward to aging." And I was like, "Really?" And like, no, you unironically have had that position all along.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. I don't fear it.
Okay.
I've accepted it.
I've
don't fear the
accepted it.
Reaper?
Like, yeah, there's going to be things that at some point eventually I'm going to have to not do. But like
But not for a very long time.
Exactly.
Because of Nick's fitness level.
Because of the
Because
fitness level.
every
The washboard abs.
105 years old, still
No,
chipping
okay. The abs are a great example.
At some
Okay?
point, I'm going to have to stop towing 18-wheelers with this rope.
Yeah.
when pulling my teeth.
The abs are a great example. Like that's something I've had to let go.
That's
Okay.
fair.
That's
Right.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm 43. I'm not going to have abs.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't want them.
yeah.
What it takes
The
to get
rest of
there.
us are
Exactly.
over.
Exactly. I mean, hypothetically, could I do it?
Sure.
I could.
Yeah.
I could. I don't want to.
No.
Because getting abs at 23 and getting abs at 43 are two very different things.
fair.
Okay.
Very fair.
So you
I
just
like
kind
the
of
rest of us are like, I can't lift boxes, and he's like, I've made peace that I'm not going to
I'm
get
not gonna
shredded
washboard
fucking abs. So I guess we all get it, right? We're all just sipping from the same pond.
Also, the only guys that I know that get
cert.
abs in their 40s. There's one group of guys that get abs in their 40s.
Yeah.
Recent divorcees.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You get that divorce weight off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it just
Those
abs
are the
pop.
guys, like, they just went through a bad divorce.
Yep.
Yep.
And they get abs.
Yes.
Shredded.
revenge body.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
No,
the divorce diet.
Empty apartment, shredded.
No, I'm
abs.
thinking more revenge than
revenge
like
than
yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but like every decade, I just kind of accept that like what I pictured my 30s would look like when I was 20.
Yeah.
Once I got in my 30s, I was like, oh yeah, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
It doesn't feel any different to me.
Yeah.
And what I pictured my 40s was going to look like when I was in my 30s. Now I get into my 40s and I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad either.
Okay.
Like, so it's just realizing that like the problem isn't me aging. The problem is my perspective.
Yeah.
So if my perspective is always, oh my God, my 50s are going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Well, my 40s weren't and my 30s weren't.
Yeah.
When adjusting
Yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
Just like you said, like I'm not shooting for abs, I'm shooting for fitness and health or, biceps instead.
Yeah, I wanted to not get winded when I go up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I want to take care of these guns.
Yeah.
That's all.
Just polish
That's all
these
I want to
guns.
do.
See, me, I'm like, I don't want to go up a shirt size. Like, I don't want to have to buy new clothes.
That's
Yeah.
Seriously.
just trying to
I
keep
want
it
to
down.
get as big as I can
Yeah.
while still not feeling like I can still take that center seat on a Southwest flight.
Right.
Right.
And be
Ooh,
okay.
yeah.
That's the
You know,
Nobody's.
I don't want
yeah.
my shoulders to get too big where I have to
That's
sit
right.
I won't
sideways.
love
right.
it, but I can do it.
Just sit sideways the whole time.
No, but I think that's part of it. The other thing too, like as far as like death, I mean, my philosophy on that is it's gonna happen.
Right.
Why am I gonna waste my living time focusing on something that's inevitable and I have no
Yeah.
control over?
Yeah.
I could spend all day tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
worrying about what it's going to be like to die. And at the end of the day, I will be no more knowledgeable.
Right.
I will be no more prepared. I'm going to be in the exact same position I was at the beginning of the day. I will have
Right.
just wasted a day.
Yeah. Right.
I'll just be one day older.
Right.
So, and the other thing too is like, I like Mark Twain had a quote about this, something about like, cause he didn't believe in an afterlife. And somebody asked him about like, the fear of non-existence after death. Are you afraid of non-existence?
Mm.
And he said, something to the effect of, I didn't exist for a millennia before I was born, and it didn't inconvenience me in the slightest.
I like that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's just kind of the same
Right.
thing. It's like, okay, well, if 1895 didn't affect me at all,
Right.
then why would 2095?
Right.
It's the same thing.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I never really had thoughts on aging or anything like that. For women in particular, I think that 30 is like a big
Yeah.
one because it is when you start to see aging signs and society's trying to convince us not to age.
People buy you a few less free drinks.
Not
Men-
me.
men
I
start
mean,
to boo
but
when you walk down the street.
I'm like, not me.
The cat calling stops. People
I'm
to say,
cute. I can get
Yeah.
drinks anywhere I go.
Yeah. The construction workers aren't saying as much.
Jim, you want to go to the bar after?
I'm good. I'm an old man. I don't give a shit. Call me when you're 20.
But I really and truly, up until literally the day I turned 30, was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't see why age, like the number matters. Da, 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 da. But then on the day I turned 30 or, within the days after, I was like, wow, it does feel
Yeah.
different. It's kind of similarly to how I described is probably just me in this room, but that's fine. Like the day I got married, I was always like, Peter and I dated for a long time before. I didn't see why things would be different getting married, but there is a different vibe
Yeah.
Like it changes the vibe, and really, I don't know what it is, but that's kind of how I felt turning 30. I was like, oh my God, this is kind of like weird. I don't know why I feel uncomfortable with being 30 or
How are you
whatever.
feeling about 40?
I'm not 40 yet, so I don't
I
know.
know. No, you and I are the same
I'm
age.
kidding.
That's what. But
No.
I'm dreading it.
Well, so that's the thing.
Oh, Jim is going to be unbearable.
I was already thinking.
We need a plan. Yeah, no, we need to start dealing with this shit
How old
now.
are you now, Jim?
Oh my God.
38, and so I turned 39 in December.
We're not going to last that long. It'll be fine.
Yeah. This show will be over by then. Take the under. Yeah, we
I was
need to
thinking
plan
that. I was
something
like, your
because I'm going to
birthday's
lose
coming
my
up,
shit.
but
Yeah.
I was pretty sure you're turning 39. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just turned 38, so I was like,
Mhm.
oh, well, 40 is getting close, kind of like Jacob said. Oh gosh, we're creeping up there. And it's the same thing. I'm like, no big deal, no big deal. But if I really sit in that and like, if I were to turn 40 right now, it would feel a little weird. Like,
Right.
I don't like it. I don't know. Is that really just because society says don't get older? Like, what's going on there?
Right.
I kind of really like to dig around in that. But
I think, I don't know. I'm like, the part that I can relate to is just like the 30s are over.
it's more like that. It's sad.
Yeah,
Like,
it's kind of like, oh, that piece of my life is gone now, and it's gone forever.
I'll never be able to
It's
say
never-
I'm 30 blank.
Yeah, and so
I'm-
that piece is gone. Like, so I can relate to that. That felt kind of weird,
yeah,
for sure.
like a weirdness.
Do you remember that
Yeah.
time that we went to that bar after the Knights game and we hung out with those bros and they started asking me how old I
Oh,
was,
no.
and suddenly I
You were
realized,
very, like, upset
oh, I'm still upset.
that.
I think about it every day.
Wait, what did they? How old did they
Okay,
think
'cause-
Jim was?
No, because we were talking to them. We just struck up this conversation, and
We got
and then-
along really well.
I can't
with
remember.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh no, it was great. Like
Yeah.
we.
So this wasn't an old
No.
No.
man friend.
No,
No, yeah.
my retiree friends.
That's probably why that group clicks with you is
Yeah.
because they make you feel young.
That might be it. I think it's because.
It is.
Oh, I don't think it's just that. I think
Ah,
also
but that
like
is part of it.
they
Yeah.
It's not just
tolerate me
that.
pretty well. Like I
Wait.
think whatever my thing
Well,
is,
they've got
that
bad
I,
hips. They can't get away.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean,
really
this
glad
was the
this guy's
World War
talking to me.
II generation.
Yeah.
Like, they've seen some
They've
shit.
seen some shit. I can handle this jackass. It's gonna be fine.
We
Wait.
took on Hitler.
Yeah.
We can handle Jim Jobin.
I punch Nazis in the face. I can deal with this
I feel
idiot.
like it's Vietnam by now, but okay.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Well, that's how old I am.
Right.
I'm like, Nick, they're younger.
Right.
Vietnam people, that's almost my generation.
Oh my god.
Okay, so what happened with these bros? How old did they think
we
you
went
were?
to a bar. It was after a hockey game. Everybody's wearing the jerseys. We're having a good time, and we get chatty with this group of dudes, and like just good energy. Everybody's had a few, so lots of loud voices, making jokes, talking trash, all that fun stuff. We're getting along really, really well with them. And at some point, like, we're holding court, you know, and this is what sometimes happens. So like Nick and I are there. We've got a circle of like people around us. We're getting it going. We're having a great time at the bar.
Okay.
And at some point, one of them, like Nick breaks away and he's got like a little side conversation going. And one of the dudes that was talking to me comes over to Nick and he goes, "How old is your friend?" or something like that.
So what happened was we were talking and somehow like it dawned on me that they think I'm their age.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very clear to me that like they're 24, 25 ish.
They asked me directly. I remember
Yeah,
they
no,
said,
they
"How
did,
old
because-
are you?" And I was like, "That's a weird question."
Because they asked me.
Yeah.
Somehow it's like, and I was like, I told them. I'm like, holy shit.
yeah, right. That's always the
Yeah.
answer. It's like, oh, and it's
Yeah,
like,
and
so
then-
what? How are you?
So
How am I
then they're
supposed to
like,
interpret
how old's
this?
him? I was
Yeah.
like, go ask him.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
and so
old's him?
How old is him?
Yeah.
So they come over to me and they ask me how old I am. I'm like, oh, you know, I think I was 37 at the time, probably. And so I was like, oh, 37. Like, what? That's crazy. And I'm like, is it? Because like I thought we were all here because we like beer and hockey. Like I didn't know that was like an age
It's so
thing.
late for you.
How
What are
Yeah.
you doing out here?
Like I mean,
How
your
old were
response
they?
is just wrong.
Like
They're
25?
24,
Probably
25.
mid-20s.
Yeah.
But like the response they had would have been appropriate if I said I'm 19 and I snuck in here. Like then it should be like, oh shit! Like but they were like, oh shit! I'm like, bro, you know I can legally drink here, right? Like at 37. Like also, it's
No.
not like I needed to come here like after the early bird special. Jesus Christ!
Age is interesting at that age. I've realized working with clients in their early 20s. I had a young client once say they had started dating somebody who was they're like, oh, well, they're a bit older than me. And I was like, oh no, this person's like 20.
Yeah.
I was like, they're going to say 30 or something. Like,
Yeah.
they're kind of older. I don't know. And they're like, they're 24. And I was like, you're 20. I was like, what do you mean they're a bit older? I was like, oh my God. It really checked me and like how we perceive age at like 20 to 24.
Sure.
Like you said, 24 to 28.
Yeah.
Same.
20,
You're like,
you're still
old.
thinking like a high schooler. You're like, well, the difference between 14 and 18 is huge. You know?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So funny.
But yeah, I think I'm probably, I know you're shocked too, it's more similar with Nick. That was going to be my advice too. It's a little bit like I took this training recently on OCD, and this has stuck with me for just general advice too, something to try if you're open to it. And it's sort of like radical acceptance, but it's like just sitting in that uncomfortability. And one of my favorite phrases I took away with that is, what we resist persists. And so if you're resisting even like the idea, I'm aging, like I'm thinking about it so much, I'm trying to avoid it, but that's me thinking about it. And every time I try and soothe myself, like, oh, I have plenty of years left, it'll be okay, all this stuff, trying to ease that anxiety, it almost like fuels it to just cycle back quicker instead of just like, I'm gonna die tomorrow.
Right.
Like, she literally has us say that, or something worse in this training. She was like, pick out somebody close to you, you know, Jim's gonna die today. And it, like, your anxiety feels really high when you say that, unless you're Jacob. But your anxiety,
I don't know why it would. No, Jacob's like, I know he will. If everything goes as planned,
the check hasn't cleared, it'll probably take a few business days.
If he tries to start his car after this recording, Jim's going to die today.
But she starts with something extreme where, you're at like a 10, you know, or at the time I was like, Peter's going to die today. Like, that's just the most horrific thing you can think of or imagine. And the idea is that, that could happen. Like, it might.
Right.
But we're just going to sit in that because we're giving our thoughts so much power in those situations. So it sounds like you're giving those thoughts and feeling so much power and control over your life. It's almost like owning that. All right, I'm going to sit in that. Like, my wife's going to get dementia.
Right.
It's tough to sit through, but I think just sitting in that, a lot of people get dementia. Like, what can you do to kind of prepare for that? Peter and I don't have children. We don't plan on it. So we plan in other ways for our end of life. Like, what can you control to an extent? Right. And then the rest you have to kind of just accept and sit in that. Like, we don't know the future. Right. And absolutely agree with what I guess Mark Twain said. And that's that I do have that fear of the action of dying, right? Like those 30 seconds or a few minutes, whatever that happens at the end of life that I imagine happen. That sounds absolutely terrifying. After that, you're just non-existent. That's the good part. You're done. You won't fucking care. It won't matter. It's not even I won't care. There's just nothing. You're just gone, in my opinion. So
I like that. And I think there's a phrase, I love that, resist, persist. I'm going to totally steal that for OCD work. That is so great.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a, that's just so perfectly encapsulated. You can get them to hold on anyway. Yeah. But like another thing that I like to say a lot is there are challenges that are not my job, they're future Jim's job, right? So like if an illness comes or like, and this is something that as a person who lives with really tough chronic anxiety, if you're not careful, you can get into this frenzy of anticipating everything that could ever go wrong, trying to prepare for it, trying to, you know, like when flu and cold season comes, I go to the goddamn pharmacy and spend like $200, like refreshing every single thing in every like health component we have to make sure I'm ready for anything that could go wrong. And some of the shit's like really bizarre and random shit. Like I bought like a finger splint. So I'm like, well, I don't think we have one of those. You know, we should probably have fucking finger splints.
I have a 13-year-old client just used a finger splint this week.
Nick, you laugh at me.
I don't
then
know.
you fucking need a finger splint. You're going to be calling my ass.
I will not. I guarantee I won't.
Nope.
But I have to put myself in check sometimes because I have to remind myself, you know, Jim, your job is not to prepare for, anticipate, and live in all future crises. One day the earth is going to spin into the fucking sun, and every human you have ever heard of, every bone ever buried here is going to be eviscerated down to its atomic level, and it will be as if none of this ever existed. And it will not have existed way longer than it did exist. And so everything you think matters has a shelf life. It will expire. All things will be disassembled to their particle components. And so whenever you think about like all the things that could go wrong, you need to think so far beyond that to realize how irrelevant all this is. And whenever you get lost in that like great ocean of irrelevance, you realize, and this is coming back to like existentialist philosophy, the only thing that can have real meaning is now. And that's freeing in a sense. It's terrifying at first, but then once you go through that terror and you get to the other side, you start to feel a sense of peace and acceptance that all that matters is what's in front of me, what is now, what is present. And you start to live for today and trust that future you will handle those challenges when they arrive and they will be capable of them. If at 7 years old you ask yourself, oh my God, I'm so scared to learn how to drive, what's it going to be like when I'm in my first car accident? Mm-hmm. The advice you'd give that 7-year-old is horrible. But we'd say 17-year-old you is going to know what to do. Yeah, 17, that's not 7-year-old you's job. That's 17-year-old you's job. And 17-year-old you is going to have training and maturity and lots of road experience. They will figure it out. But there's nothing that 7-year-old you can do about it. And the same thing is true today, right? Or you're at 30-year-old you. 80-year-old you is going to have different realities to face. 80-year-old you will be prepared for those realities by the extra 50 years of life that they're going to have on top of you. You can trust their expertise, you can trust their wisdom, you can trust their experience, and you can trust their readiness to take on some of those challenges. If you could talk to 20-year-old you and they were like, I'm so scared that one day there's going to be like some weird global pandemic, and 30-year-old you is like, well, there was. Oh my God, what can I do to prepare for it? Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. Well, no, what help do you need from me? None. There is literally not a fucking thing you could do that could have helped me. It happened, and I had to just see it, read it, adjust to it, and I learned and became different every day, and I got through the crisis. You didn't need to waste 8 years of your life preparing me for that.
Well, I do say, though, I do think, though, that this, again, kind of goes back to partially part of my fitness mentality.
I'm glad you could bring that back up. I was worried we weren't going to talk about how fit you are.
Yeah, I was worried we
felt like we were starting to get too deep and not enough about your tits. But go on, tell us about your pecs.
No, but like the idea of like, here's one thing I actually can do for future me.
Right.
I can take care of myself.
Sure, that's a good point.
You know, like I can give Nick at 55 a decent shot.
Right.
At you know,
shredded abs.
If you know, Nick at 55 wants to go water skiing.
Right.
Like, okay, I can maybe give future Nick that gift of being able to be active.
Right.
You know, I can take care of myself, I can do the things that I need to do, as opposed to getting to that point and being like, oh man, past Nick really fucked me over.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he wasn't such a, you know, careless dick.
Yeah,
you know, if you
that's
could have
fair.
just, you know, so like
there's
you
a
know,
reasonable
there's
right sizing of it.
Yeah,
but if you become anxious and preoccupied with it,
I guess what I'm saying is
best.
like, give your future you the tools.
Right.
Don't do future you's job.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, there's some things you can avoid. So,
Yep.
like getting involved with the mafia, so then your car didn't get blown up.
Awful quiet over there.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're
Just
talking about... Was that the last question?
No, we got one more.
every week that his
Dealing
wife hasn't
with
left him, I'm
negative
just
thoughts.
confused.
By
I lose more and more respect for her. We're talking about dealing with negative thoughts. Why the fuck not? You're listening to Pod Therapy.
I can't control how they come in. That's just
Write
how-
the script.
those are the questions.
You can literally control it.
Today's episode is brought to you by Robert Brownie Jr., Mintz, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Lib, Heyo, and Andrew Langmead. If you would like to sponsor this incredibly negative show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. All right. Next set of questions here. Let me, here we go. In soccer or football,
Yes.
what is the primary responsibility of a player in the sweeper position? A role not commonly used in modern formations, but known for organizing the defense.
All right.
Is it scoring goals, marking the fastest opponent, providing defensive cover behind other defenders, or taking corner kicks?
I like C.
I know the answer.
Oh,
So
shit.
I
Oh, that's right. She's a
I
soccer
do
kid.
too,
like-
yes.
All right.
That's
So,
why
yeah.
this question is here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the one behind
I forgot
the
there was a
defense.
theme.
Yeah, I'd see.
See ya.
I
Okay.
played sweeper.
Oh,
C.
No.
okay.
Hey, I just remembered a joke. Do you guys ever see that Onion article where it's like scientists make breakthrough by using sign language to teach an ape that he's going to die? And there's this fucking sad gorilla. It's really funny. The article's like, we finally broke through. Like, we finally mastered enough communication to explain to him the existence is going to end.
Oh my
He's
God.
like super depressed.
That's
Not seen that, but I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which golfer famously won the 1997 Masters by a record 12 strokes, becoming the youngest winner of the tournament at the time?
This
Jack
is for
Nicklaus,
Jim.
I was
Phil
gonna.
Mickelson,
Phil Mickelson is who I was
Tiger
gonna guess.
Woods, or Arnie Palmer.
Oh, geez. Well, I would assume Tiger Woods.
It was 97, you said?
97.
Yeah, that's going to be Tiger Woods.
Who they were? Sorry, repeat the question.
Won the 1997 Masters by a record of 12 strokes,
Oh, Tiger
becoming the
Woods,
youngest winner of the tournament.
Oh,
at
that,
the
I
time.
missed that part. It's Tiger.
It
Yeah.
is Tiger.
Yeah.
I was like, he's just the best.
I
Which
missed youngest winner. If I'd heard that the first time, I would have known that.
Which Disney Pixar film centers around a journey through the afterlife, exploring themes of passion,
Ooh.
purpose, and mental well-being? I know this one.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
That's it. Scent of a woman.
Yeah.
Is it Coco, Soul, Onward, Ratatouille?
I haven't seen Coco, so I'm gonna guess Soul.
I haven't seen Coco, Soul, or the third one.
Ratatouille?
No, I've seen Ratatouille. That's the only
Okay.
one I'd seen.
Pick that one then.
So I know it's not Ratatouille. I think it's Coco.
All right. Soul.
Okay, I'll be honest. I highlighted it, and it is not what I thought it was. I was going to say Coco.
Okay.
Mm.
Good
But it is
honesty,
Soul.
Boy Scout.
Soul.
All right.
Soul.
Jim and I know our Disney.
But like
movies.
Coco
Yeah.
is about the afterlife.
You haven't
I thought
seen
Coco
Coco?
had
I
ghosts in
haven't.
it.
Oh, you're
it's
gonna
on,
love
it's on
it.
my list this
It's,
year.
Watch it for Halloween time.
Yeah,
Wait, so
that's
a
what I was
movie
thinking.
with ghosts in it is not.
No, that one's about family.
Yeah, but it's in the afterlife. He's exploring.
yeah.
I was when
Yeah,
you said
so
Coco,
He
I was like,
happens
shit,
to
it
be
might
in
be
the
Coco.
afterlife. Coco is about a kid who wants to be a musician and his family's against it. And so then he has to go into the afterlife
Fine.
and meet his family that
Yeah.
would have
Aw,
supported him.
that's
I
It's
saw
a journey of
Coco.
self-discovery.
I like-
Coco fucking rocks.
I saw Coco and I saw Soul.
Yeah,
Those are the
dude,
only
the
two. out of
music
four that I've
alone in
actually
Coco.
You haven't seen
Coco's great.
Ratatouille?
rules.
I haven't.
Soul is not that good. It was
I didn't.
not.
I didn't care
I didn't
for
love
it.
it.
I loved Coco.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to watch
Coco's
it.
If Coco's on, I
That
will
is the
sit down
one
and
that
watch it.
Trent Reznor did the music for, though, was Soul.
Soul.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I think he won an Oscar for it, actually.
I believe it. I mean, it's like jazz. So
Yeah, I'm not a
You
big
know.
jazz.
Last one. What year was the Boy Scouts of America
shit.
founded? 1905, 1910, 1920, 1935.
E, who cares?
uh,
Oh, B.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1910.
I know it's that Lord guy. Somebody, Lord something.
Jesus?
That might have been
That's
it.
it.
Lord and Savior. All right, I'm not going last, or I'm not
No, I
going
thought the
next. You
Mormons
have to
did.
go.
I'll go
Okay.
1920.
I
I think it's
I'm coming with-
1910.
I'm
but-
going with
I
20
said
as well.
10.
I think it was around
Yeah,
the
it's
first World War.
1910.
Oh, okay.
Was that B?
Yes, that was
I
B.
think
Fuck yeah.
I think I'm undefeated. Let's double check later.
Damn. All right. Good questions there, intern. I like them. This is good. All right, let's end this show on a high note. Dealing with negative thoughts. Dear Pod Therapy people, I want to start by saying thank you for spreading awareness of mental health in such a wholesome and funny way. Your podcast is a vast reservoir of knowledge, and I look forward to listening each week.
Makes me happy every time.
Yes.
The gist of my question is, how do I keep myself from or deal with intrusive negative thoughts? I've written a lot, so I'm providing a hopefully short enough summary here with a longer letter at the end. I'm a 33-year-old cisgender male living in the United States. My sister is 29, we'll call her Tori, and her husband, we'll call him Trevor, is 27 and 28.
Or 28.
Whatever.
He can't be both.
He is a very athletic person. He works out almost every day with an emphasis on bodybuilding. He rarely drinks and does no drugs that I'm aware of. My sister's husband, to put it bluntly, is a straight-up man-child. He never takes responsibility for his own actions, but instead blames others and lashes out in anger. He's selfish, dishonest, is constantly looking at his phone while driving, which fucking pisses me off since he drives my sister around, does the bare minimum around the house, takes advantage of others, has shown no growth over the years, is a one-upper, a sore loser, interrupts conversations, and constantly complains.
That's the bare minimum.
The bare minimum. Rawr. That's the bare minimum. I know there's a lot of accusations, so I provided more context in the longer letter attached. I love my sister very much. We have a great relationship, and I very much enjoy hanging out with her. However, if we do hang out, this guy is always tagging along. I've told my sister how I feel about him, but she basically shuts down or gets angry if I ever say anything negative about him. She knows I'd rather not hang out with him, but doesn't have the heart to tell him, and frankly, I don't either. To be honest, neither my sister or I are good with confrontation, which is another thing I know we need to work on. So I hang out with them both and genuinely show him kindness while doing so. I've come to accept that they are married and that they are now a package deal. I get that if I want to hang out with my sister, he is going to be around too. However, whenever I do hang out with them, I cannot help but be plagued with constant negative thoughts afterward. Most recently, we attended a convention together with a couple of other friends, which was over the span of a few days, during which we all shared a house. And there are little scenes that kept playing over and over in my head of Trevor's behavior. This happens every time we hang out, and I know it's not healthy. I meditate daily with a focus on love and kindness, and I try to employ that sentiment to everyone around me, including Trevor. But it's really difficult to feel that way after witnessing how he acts, especially toward my sister, and it makes it difficult for me to continue to employ a state of well-being when these negative thoughts are in my head. I try to employ the mindfulness meditation that y'all have mentioned. I also constantly listen to podcasts. I'm currently going through your backlog of memoirs and typically try to stay busy. However, there are pockets of time where I'll be doing something tedious, like brushing my teeth, taking a shower, resting my head on a pillow before going to sleep. And I'll catch myself having these negative thoughts. And by the time I realize and snap out of it, they'll have been going through my head for several minutes already. Eventually, the thoughts will lessen if there's a decent amount of time when I don't see my sister and her husband, but they always rear up when I do see them again, which is exhausting and doesn't help me. I've seen a therapist once about a year ago, but didn't continue sessions as I couldn't afford it at the time. I did just start a new job that has an EAP, which I intend to make use of, but have admittedly procrastinated getting that started. So my question is, how can I avoid or work through these negative thoughts? Are there any techniques or mindsets that you know of that I'm not already employing? Also, if you have any tips on talking to my sister or her husband, I'd be grateful for that too. Thanks so much. Y'all are truly wonderful, and I'm so glad I found your show, even though I haven't had a chance to go to therapy. But that one time, I've learned so much from you, and you've helped me a lot in my own mental health journey. Go fuck yourself, Las Vegas. P.S. Jim's my favorite. Just kidding, it's Whitney.
Yay!
A finely
That
written
made my
letter.
week.
Yeah, pretty well
I want to
punched
jump back because that letter reminded me, and I forgot to say it in the last letter about the life and getting older and everything. I have found that meditating does help me kind of accept these things that I can't change.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
That's
use something specific for meditation,
No.
like an app or anything, or
No.
just okay?
I just sit and think and sit and ponder and sit and try to just find that
Be
acceptance.
present.
You tolerate
Yeah.
it, which goes back to what you had said, Whitney, about
Yeah.
tolerating the discomfort. And
That's it.
eventually, that actually is good for you.
Our brain is wired to finally accept things, at least at a much lower level of anxiety than initially. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
I
that's
know
so
that
hard.
meditation is my second most often used answer behind fake it till you make it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like behind.
I thought he was going to say drugs.
I honestly was waiting for that too.
Oh.
And of course, booze.
Lots of medicines.
That's so difficult when somebody is married into the family, because
Yeah.
that takes me back to, again, if we're talking about when you get married to someone, everyone says, oh, you're marrying the family or whatever. And I kind of like didn't believe or didn't understand. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, but not really. I mean, they're doing their thing. I'm doing mine, whatever, or we're doing
Right.
ours. But no, you
But
do.
you also are.
Yeah.
You do. So this feels like a rough example of, you're
Yeah.
you're
And
kind of
Trevor,
in
for the
that.
record, sounds like a douchebag.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everything.
Ugh.
And I think it's really hard whenever it's like, I don't like how you treat my sibling, right? Like, you're their spouse. I don't like you as a person.
Yeah.
I find you pretentious, and I don't think I want to hang out with you, and we're not a good personality match. But then on top of that, I don't like how you treat my sister, and I have to watch and expect and like not meddle with that. But then we all like to socialize together, and then I get an up close, kind of view of that. Man, that fucking sucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be weird as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those negative thoughts make a lot of sense in that regard. I mean, obviously, writer's been cagey to not necessarily give us into the weeds of what these negative thoughts are, at least in letter 1.
Yeah.
And not murderous or anything like that. It's just, man, I hate this person. Like I just, it'd be great if they weren't around, and wish that this was not a challenge I had to deal with. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there a way to address these thoughts? Should they be addressed, or is it really more about like almost acceptance in a similar way that we accept the reality of death, the reality of Trevor?
It reminds me a bit of like abusive relationships, right? Like, I'm going with the more common like stereotype here, where women are in the victim position and men are dominating over them. But it's hard when you have friends or family who are in those positions, and you're like, you want to shake them, or you want to tell them, or whatever, just make them see things the way you see it, but they're not going to, most likely. Like, they either know mentally they know I shouldn't put up with this, but their feelings are a very different thing. And you can't really argue with somebody about their feelings. So they're like, I love this person, they're great to me, or whatever.
And that's true too. And like, I think for a lot of people, we size up the relationships of others and we think, gosh, you don't get it, Whitney. You're being mistreated. This guy's arrogant. This guy's an ass.
Right.
This guy makes you do so much. You deserve better. You should stand up for yourself. And what we're not appreciating is he didn't hide all that shit. That's what she dated. That's what she got
Very
used to.
true.
She picked that.
Yeah.
There's something about this that works for her too. And she probably also complains about the things that don't, or the things that bother her. And I think as therapists, we see this a lot, where when a relationship comes in for help, a lot of times we have to keep in mind, they've already found homeostasis.
Yeah.
They've been able to keep it together for a long time.
Yeah.
And now they're having a disruption. I don't necessarily need to tear everything down to the fucking concrete and try to fix it all, because they are happy enough to make it work. And Ryder, that's something I think we have to remember as we show deference to your sister, and as we tolerate that, and maybe even soothe ourselves, to remind ourselves that she picked this. There's aspects of this dude that she likes or tolerates, or maybe even finds charming, or
Probably
works
his
for her.
abs.
I think it's I was
He
going to
is
wonder how
bodybuilder.
long it'd be till you brought that up, because
you knew he was.
this guy's better than you. And like, he didn't give up on his dreams like you did. Like, he achieved them.
Hey, they said he's 27.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you in my opinion, Ryder, you have to either accept that and spend time with them, or you don't have to spend time with them.
Right.
And you're like, that's all you're in control of. You're only in control of your own actions.
Yeah, I kind of have the same thought too, of like, not that.
It feels
Almost
yucky
kinda
saying
like,
it.
kind of put it back on your sister, like, like if she's like, well, why don't we hang out anymore? It's like, well, you know why we don't hang out anymore.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
don't really
also
enjoy
tough.
hanging
Like,
He's an
out.
asshole.
Ryder telling sister, I don't like your husband, we have beef. It's a really unfortunate thing, because that puts your sister in such a strange position.
Yes.
Right.
But I mean, he doesn't have to, because
Yeah.
having read the second half of this letter, so the writer sends about 4 more pages of letter here,
Yeah.
which I didn't put in here. But having read through a lot of that, they've already had that conversation. You know,
Okay.
like
Okay.
she already knows that he doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, at this point, he wouldn't have to have this conversation with her.
Yeah.
He could just be like, kind of start to withdraw.
Well, I mean, yeah, Ryder put it in the main letter that he has told sister this, and she doesn't know what to do about it. And I think that's really tricky, right? Because you can't get that back in the bottle.
Yeah.
Like when you tell your any member of your family, I don't like your partner, that's an issue for me. Ugh.
I feel like you get one chance at that. This is a personal opinion on relationships. You get one chance at a friend or family member telling them, hey, I don't like this dynamic or how they treat you. I just need you to know that.
Yep.
They may hear you and say, okay, great, or oh my gosh, that's messed up, whatever. You kind of hash it out.
Yeah.
And then you don't really get to bring it up again. You either have to phase
show
yourself
respect.
out. Yeah. If you're still trying to control that dynamic, it is just going to destroy your relationship with that person.
Yeah.
To an almost irreparable point. My other kind of suggestion, I don't know if this was in the second part of the letter, but is if I were you, I know you aren't comfortable with confrontation necessarily, but maybe just putting in nudges there, like here and there when he does something rude to your sister or in front of when you're all there for game night or whatever, and he like rolls his eyes or does something where you're just like, hey, why are you rolling your eyes? Like, I would just call shit out. Like, you don't even have to do it. You don't even have to be rude about it. It's just like, if your sister asks him to do something and he like has an attitude about it, it's like, it's just this.
I think all that's dangerous.
Yeah, me too.
Know.
I'm on team. Don't
know.
bring that up because it's not my job to police their relationship.
You're not
It's my job-
policing it.
I'll tell you how to treat me, but like if every time I'm around, I have notes on how you treat my sister, it's overstepping.
I don't know. I feel
I
like
don't know
it's
that- I don't know if
advocating.
it's overstepping, but it is like it's the be right or be happy thing. Like you can be absolutely correct every time you say something about Trevor,
Right.
but like at some point your sister and you don't want to hear it anymore,
Yeah.
and like and
And I think
she's
at
gonna
some
withdraw.
point
Well, they
the
probably
sister
won't invite
feels
you over anymore
disrespected too.
Yeah.
At some point the sister's like, "Hey, stop."
So like if you want to salvage
can
the
speak for
relationship with the
myself.
sister, I think for the sake of that.
Yeah, she probably won't respond well to that, but I think in general, that is also your relationship. That's kind of
That's true.
my
Yeah.
thing. Like, we all have our own relationships
Yeah,
with
for
each other.
sure.
So, your dynamic with your brother-in-law, that is your relationship. And if you don't like
Yeah.
something they're doing, you can say something.
Does anybody see a move where Ryder talks to Trevor one-on-one, and I don't know if there's an airing of grievances or if it's somehow like a leveling of the playing field of like, listen, man, I've had some tension with you. I don't know if that's come through. I don't want it to be simmering. I don't want there to be awkwardness between us.
I think that's fine.
How do we feel about just it? Do you think that's wise? Would you advise against that? What do
You
we
think they should
about
fuck?
that? Well, I mean, yeah.
if they're
makeup
gazing into
sex.
each other's
Ideally,
eyes,
yeah.
then yeah.
That's the general
When are we just gonna
you gotta
bang
feel
it
it
out?
out.
The pod therapy advice is always try to fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's fine. Yeah, like go have some lunch and
You think so? Just like a one-on-one.
Manage the expectation there.
Good
The
point.
goal
Yeah.
is not to change Trevor in that sense. It's just to share
Yeah.
your
and
own
the goal is not to be
grievances.
and perhaps the goal can just be like how are we going to behave around each other going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we want sister / wife to be happy.
Yeah.
How are we going to behave around each other going forward in the interest of her happiness? Like how can we we have to coexist?
Right.
How are we going to do that?
And
Well, he's going to say she is happy. I
Yeah.
make her happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
she's
that
great.
might be that
Yeah.
Well,
it might
that's-
be useless.
it also
Yeah.
comes down to what would you complain about? Like if you have
Yeah.
a whole list of reasons that you don't like somebody,
I don't like the airing of grievances as much.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
very safe.
No.
Yeah.
I
That's like a whole list.
I would just say like I would
Keep it practical.
like talk about things going
You're
forward.
disrespectful to my sister.
Yeah, you and I have had whatever issues in the past. Let's bury that and let's figure out a way to go forward.
Right.
I don't mind that.
If you're snippy or rude to each other, then that's easy. Like then I think it's a meeting to say, "Hey,
That's
look,
fair.
we've gotten tense between each other." But if we're having a meeting for me to privately talk to you about how I disapprove of how you live your life or who you are and your character and your
No,
personality,
I think that's useless.
I don't know
and-
how
yeah.
anything good comes
Yeah.
of that.
No, I don't
what's-
either.
The guy's not going to change. They're going to be like, "Wow, you know what? I was really dedicated to my whole lifestyle and who I was, but now that I know it offends you, I'm going to change."
Now that my spouse's brother has told me.
Yeah, that's not going to do.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
No, I agree. I think that's where, in my opinion, the limit of that comes into play when the thing is actually happening. And that's where I was
Right.
like, oh, call it out. But you're right. It sounds like a lot of things. So where's the limit there? So
What can you cover?
really, I think at the end of the day, you either accept that and having been in a similar situation as this. Like, you either accept it or you pull away. And those are your two options.
I think it is. I think a lot of times it is. But it also comes down to this. Now, let's zoom in on this idea of acceptance, because that is a skill. And I think that is something that the therapist in his life is going to be really interested in. The therapist isn't probably going to say, okay, here's how you fuck Trevor over, or correct him, or change him.
Fuck Trevor.
Here's how you can fuck Trevor. They might give you that advice if that's what you want. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to tell you how to do it. But, like if you said, okay, look, I'm not going to change Trevor. I'm not going to change their marriage. I'm not going to get my sister to agree with me on something and therefore leverage against Trevor. I can choose to accept them and him or not. So let's take the path of acceptance. What's interesting about that is those negative thoughts, I think, very quickly become ruminations. And now we find ourselves constantly coming back to, God, I hate this guy. He's so bad. He's so pretentious. Can you believe it? And I think that we've seen this happen where it's not quite OCD, but is obsessive and ruminating thinking about being offended. We see it with people that get really mentally ill about politics, and they'll just be constantly obsessed about like everything in the news cycle. Like, did you see what they did this week? Can you believe it? This country's going downhill. And you're like, hey, I need you to be able to let this go. And they're like, well, no, how could you ask me to do that? It's real. It's happening. I'm not making this shit up. Like, you're right. And this is, again, right or happy. You're not going to be happy. So we have to start to help this person detach from the rumination and the negative thinking that's causing them to spiral and become obsessive and distracted about this. That ultimately is the path that's going to lead to acceptance in their presence, but also peace when you're by yourself and that you're not, Trevor's living rent fucking free in your head.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for you.
Apparently rent free at the house as well. I'm reading through the
Yeah.
rest of the letter.
I was trying to read through some of it too. I was like, oh, geez.
I mean, the more I read, the more I'm just thinking like, just step back, wait for them to get a divorce, and then reconnect.
I was
with your
thinking
sister.
that too. I was like, just give it time, let it simmer.
Oh, and don't get super happy around your sister if they split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah.
That's it. Practice it.
We're pretty good at that.
Really? Oh.
Jesus.
Oh, are you okay?
So, like, is he
I'm so
free tonight or
shocked.
what?
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing other people?
Is now a bad time to tell you that I fucked him?
Yeah. I found out the hard way. It's apparently not helpful when you tell a friend or someone close to you, hey, if you decide to get a divorce, it's okay. They find that offensive.
Oh,
Yeah.
You learned that one the hard way, didn't
But I
you?
didn't want that.
In my 20s, all right? I was allowed some fuck ups, right?
I just want you to know I'm here for you and I support you. Also, here's a number of a divorce attorney I've heard he's really great. He's expecting your call.
Yeah. My friend told me later, after they were divorced, that they were like, yeah, I was really upset about that at the time. I get it now, and it's okay. I was like, oh, you didn't even tell me.
Oh, you're so lucky you called it, though.
I did.
Oh, yeah. It's way worse if you weren't right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was fucked up.
And they just celebrated their 25th anniversary.
I was not invited.
Those people were my parents.
Gosh. Yeah. Your sister she's a grown adult. You care about her, and it's really difficult to watch her go through that and to watch someone be treated that way, especially how, like, not sly because it's open, but it's not like very obvious hurtful things. It's like, it seems like it is kind of like an eye roll, or he's like rude, just a little bit rude to her or whatever. And so, man, those are really tough situations to navigate and not just stew about and get worked up over. But your sister is capable of making her own decisions, and you just have to remember that. Like, she is choosing this, and you will be there to support her if the situation changes.
Yeah.
And maybe separate yourself, because the ruminating is just getting re-triggered every time you're in Trevor's presence and he does some other bullshit in front of you. It's like, now here we go again. It's like,
we have to inoculate against that influence, which is difficult. I mean, when somebody's like this embedded in your life and is this difficult and you're affected by the emotions of your sibling, it's not easy to do. But I'm really glad you're going to start doing the EAP work. I really think doing that therapy. And as the writer said, wow, I feel better writing about this. I feel better talking about this. Like, this is good. Yeah, no shit. Like, this is why we want people to go to therapy, man. Why don't you do the emotional yoga of expressing it there? Because when you language this stuff, you're metabolizing the energy associated with it. And a lot of times you come out lighter and you come out like, you know what? I don't need to think about this asshole for the next 23 hours. Like, I did it intentionally once. and we talked it out, and I vented, and I was pissed, and I got some coaching on it and some commiseration. And you know what? I feel like I can right size that going forward.
Yeah.
That is the emotional yoga of therapy sometimes. It isn't always epiphany work or some kind of revelation or some kind of cool skill. Sometimes it is coming in and just processing out loud and metabolizing the energy so it doesn't show up in other places. So I'm really excited for that, Ryder. I think that's something you really got to do.
Yeah. I mean, the more I read into this, the more I do see kind of Jim's point of like, she's getting something out of this. Like, this is like, I kind of see here, like, her needing to help somebody.
Sister?
Yeah. And so she's getting that out of this relationship.
Yeah.
And so, that's a tough situation.
Yeah. So at the end of, so Ryder did send us a second letter that had a lot more to it and obviously a lot of deets, but said some really nice things at the end of the letter. Deets. And so I want to read it
Jim
out loud.
referred to touchdowns earlier, by the way, as tutties.
Tutties.
Did that I don't know, I just felt disgusting.
I think that was off air. But yeah, he said tutties.
It just
talking
made me
about
feel
football.
like,
Big old
it's
tutties.
weird.
Yeah, I don't like
It's
tutties.
How I like my football.
I don't like Jim
I
abbreviating
want those
things.
tutties in my face.
I want him to say touchdowns. I want him to say details.
What are fumbles?
Fubbies. Yeah. those are fubbies. I don't like fubbies as much, but I do like tutties. But no, Ryder said some really nice things at the end of letters. I'm going to just read it because I think these are always really sweet to see, and it's nice. If you managed to read this far, thank you so much. I really do appreciate all that you do and the time and effort you put in every week and what you believe in. Nick, your wit and hilarious one-liners are always delightful and surprising, given how calm and level-headed you are. Your patience apparently knows no bounds, as evidenced by this podcast.
Fair.
I love
But he's
listening.
so fit.
I love listening
didn't
to your
mention that.
stories and learning from your advice. You provide a perfect balance and are essential to as being the yin to Jim's yang.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's sweet. Whitney, you are such a fantastic addition to what
Oh,
was
God, are we going
already-
through everyone?
Yeah, no, we're
Yes,
doing this.
you
It's
get
cute.
one too,
Oh,
Jacob.
It's really
Jesus.
cute. You are a fantastic addition to what was already an amazing show. If Pod Therapy was like apple pie, you are the vanilla ice cream on top. You are very vanilla, by the way.
You're the
I think.
Thank you.
olive oil.
That's the best ice cream
Yeah,
flavor,
it
okay?
is.
Vanilla.
In addition to something already great made even better, your insight is so valuable and it's clear you are a wonderful therapist. Jim, Jacob, thanks so much for being a part of the show.
Now you're regretting the
See,
fun
now you
music.
get it. Now you get it. On top of being smart, funny, and quick with wit, you provide great life advice despite not being a therapist. Although I suppose I should expect as much from a doctor.
Thank you.
Just kidding, Jim. You're wonderful. Anyway, super long callback, but Nick, have you considered making Alpha Goose as your Secret Service code name?
You didn't read all of yours.
No.
Oh, I
read
didn't know I
yours.
had one.
Yeah,
I just thought
keep
it said you're
going.
wonderful. Oh, honestly, you seem like a great guy to be around.
I was like,
Thanks.
he just skipped it.
Okay, you know, I honestly thought you said,
Okay.
oh, just kidding, Jim, you're wonderful. You're damn funny, kind, and genuinely seem to be, want to make sure everyone around you is having a great time. I think you and my sister share a lot of similar traits. Well, we are both fucking Trevor. So
Yeah.
perhaps it is you that I have the most to learn from. Anyway, thanks everybody so much. Love to you all. And keep doing what you're doing and keep spreading the word about I will keep spreading the word about your amazing podcast. So anyway,
you.
that was lovely.
Thank you.
Can't wait to read
Yeah.
that in the review. I better see it in the
Just
goddamn
add it in
iTunes
there.
review, please. Copy and paste. As we wrap up the show, we want to remind you can sign up at patreon.com/therapy. You can get the extended show ad-free a day earlier, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community, our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research, roundups, and rants.
This is the part of the show where I remind Jim that...
That mine is tomorrow. Yeah, I'm aware.
You are aware. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I'm aware that it's my turn.
Okay.
We would also like to thank our Patreons. Who's new to the Theraparty?
Yeah. Sorry, I just pulled away
Therapal.
from that. All right, we got a new Therapal, Joshua Schultz.
Welcome, Joshua.
Welcome. And last minute addition that's not on your script.
Ooh.
We got a new Theraproducer.
Oh, shit!
Cody the DeLorean guy.
About
right.
damn time, Cody.
Welcome
Welcome to the owner's box.
currency was Canadian, so I haven't done the
Oh,
conversion.
okay, yeah.
I think it's their producer.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's fine.
And it's also, I don't know, it's Canadian, so it's like Monopoly money. I don't know.
I don't think any of it's real.
Just for
I don't think we can
funsies.
actually use any of it for any legal purposes, but, convert it to crypto, buy drugs. That'll be cool.
See. Oh no, that's better.
Oh,
is it?
yeah.
74 US dollar or 74 cents to $1 Canadian dollar.
All right.
Okay, well, thank
Yeah.
you, Cody. Wow.
Awesome.
That's
We're doing
amazing.
great. And of course, we'd like to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts. The Thera partners, Dirty B and Pickett.
Pickett.
And we want to spank.
Oh wait, no, that's wrong.
We also
no,
would
it's
like to
74,
spank.
74 cents equals $1 Canadian dollar.
Oh,
So no, it's worse.
Ah,
Never mind.
thank you anyway, Cody.
Yeah,
I feel like the
Nice
audience
try,
is like,
Cody.
yeah.
And we
I was
want
like, I have to correct that
Well,
because 20 people are going to yell at me.
It was a larger number than what a typical Thera producer was.
Right.
So that makes
Oh,
sense.
that
That's
does,
it.
very
Yeah.
good.
So Cody understands.
You're
Yeah,
fine.
Cody gets it.
You get
Cody
to
gets
stay.
it more than I do.
You get to
Gets us.
stay. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Dawn, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard fucking Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley slapping your face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Paris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Matt Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, A Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kaye Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Kane, Elena, and welcoming Cody.
And if you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast, and thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. It's /PodTherapy on Facebook. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? You can ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointments next week.
Bow, bow, bow.
Alrighty.
I think we
Guys
can
want
end it
another?
Oh, is there another round of trivia?
No, I don't want to do
There
a round.
could be.
How about one last one?
One question.
All right, I'll pick the
question.
geography one.
Winner takes all.
Oh, yeah.
The one time I was going to win.
This one's worth 1,000,000 points.
Damn it.
Which U.S. state is geographically closest